Hello, Buns, and welcome back to the channel. Today, just going to be a really chill sit-down chatting video. I have my coffee here. We're just sitting and cozy while B takes her nap because I have actually gotten quite a few comments asking if I was going to share my birth story, like my labor and delivery story, and I wasn't sure if that was something I was going to bring to this channel. I just didn't know if you guys would be interested, but quite a few people were asking, so I figured, why not? I actually had a really positive birth and labor story, so I figured this would be a really great space to share that. I know there's a lot of fear that circles around this topic, so hopefully I can be a voice that is taking away some of that fear. So I figured, let's sit back and I can chat with you guys, just like we're on FaceTime, you know? I am indeed drinking out of my holiday mugs because if you watched last week's video, we are in full festive mode here at the Thicket. It's just the vibes are very high. I never wanted to go past my due date with B. I was very uncomfortable my entire pregnancy. If you would not have been following along on my journey, I had HG, which just basically means I was very, very sick from the beginning of my pregnancy to the end. I threw up almost every single day for 9 months. It was really tough. And then the last month of my pregnancy, I was just feeling a lot of pain and discomfort, like in my pelvic floor area. She was very heavy. It was pressing a lot on my tailbone. I was just ready to get her out. So my due date came and went, and she was still there. I was not happy about it. I really just in my brain assumed she would come early, and she just did not have any desire to. So I had a scheduled induction. My hospital induces at 41 weeks, so I had a scheduled induction for September 3rd. But I put myself on a voluntary induction list so that if a spot opened up at the hospital, they would call me and I could go in. It was September 1st, and so at this point I had kind of lost hope that I would get a call, and it was 7:30 at night. Bryant was out on a run, and I got a call from an unknown number, and I was just like, what if this is the hospital? So I answered it, and they were like, hello, have you had your baby yet? And I was like, no, I have not. And they were like, okay, well, do you want to? It's like, yes. So luckily I had my bags packed for like a month because I thought she was coming in August. At this point it was September and I was ready to go. So Bryant got back from his run, took a quick shower, and we were at the hospital within an hour. We got to the hospital at 8:30 p.m. We got checked in. It was really chill. It's kind of nice that I didn't labor at home. I didn't have to go through any of that counting contractions or anything, but it's also something where I'm like, I kind of wish I knew what that felt like just to know, but it was nice just being able to stroll on into the hospital with my bags and get set up. So around 9 p.m., they put us in our room, and the doctor came to talk to me. And since I am a first-time mom, this is my first time going through labor, she let me know that with an induction, and especially a first-time mom induction, it would take at least 24 hours, most likely more like 36 hours. So at this point, it was 9 o'clock on Monday. She was like, you'll probably meet your baby Wednesday morning or Tuesday night at the earliest. So I was like, okay, cool. I had no intention of doing a natural birth. Everyone can do whatever is most comfortable for them, but I definitely wanted medication. I'd had a hard enough pregnancy. I wanted to alleviate any pain that could come my way. But something I understood about an epidural is that once you get an epidural, you can't move, you can't walk around. So that was something I wanted to be wary of. I didn't want to get it too early, especially since she told me my labor would take 36 hours. I was like, okay, well, I don't want to get it right now when I feel no pain because I'll just be stuck in this chair for 36 hours and I want to be able to move. That is going to come into play later. For an induction, there's a lot of ways that you can be induced. For me, there is a thing called a Foley balloon where they basically insert this thing inside of you and it inflates. It's a balloon and it'll get you to 4 centimeters dilated. And they also will give medication called Pitocin, which just helps speeds up the process. I had not gotten any of the medication yet. I was hardly dilated at all. I wasn't even a centimeter yet, but they were able to insert the balloon and they were like, okay, this will probably take about 12 hours to get you to 4 centimeters. If you're ready before the 12 hours are up, it'll come out if you get to 4 centimeters early, but most likely it's going to be 12 hours. So I was like, okay, cool. 30 minutes passes. So I get the balloon at 10 p.m. At 10:30, my water breaks and the balloon just comes out, which means that I have gone from 0 to 4 in 30 minutes. And I went from feeling nothing, no contractions. I didn't even know what a contraction felt like because how am I supposed to know? I went from feeling literally nothing to oh my God, these are really painful in 30 minutes. But again, remember, they had told me I was going to be there for a long time. So I was like, okay, I don't want to get an epidural yet. I've only been here 30 minutes. I must just be a baby. And but I don't want to be stuck. So I didn't ask the epidural yet, which was my mistake because oh my God, I did not realize this, but my labor was going by quite quickly, and it was no longer going to be 36 hours. I went from feeling nothing to feeling excruciating pain, unlike anything I'd ever felt before. I have no idea how women do it naturally and doing it at their homes because, oh my God, I did not think I could have survived that pain. That is actually a fun fact how I broke my tooth because I was clenching my teeth so hard, and I can now attribute my broken tooth to the pain I was feeling. But anyways, around 11:30, my husband Bryant was like, "You need to get an epidural. This is insane." And I was like, "Yep, you're right. I'm ready." So we went and got it. And once you get an epidural, it takes about an hour for the whole thing to set in because it takes some time for them to like get it inserted, and then it takes time for it to kick in. So once I finally stopped feeling pain, it was around 12:30, and they checked me, and I was 6 centimeters already. So again, I went from 0 to 6 in like 2 hours, which is crazy for a first-time mom. So they did end up giving me Pitocin at 3, and I was chilling, and then around 4, I could just tell that things were moving quickly because once the epidural hit, like, it's not a, "Oh, it helps with the pain." The pain is gone. Like, it's unbelievable. It's amazing. Like, the pain was gone, but around 4 AM, I started feeling I could feel things again, not, like, painful, but, like, I just had feeling. I was like, "Okay, I feel like things are happening and they should check me." So I sent Bryant to get the nurse, and they checked, and I was at 10 centimeters, so it was time to push already at 4:30 in the morning. I had, like, no downtime really during this labor, which is crazy, but it was really important to me that my sister was there, so she was in town. I called her once they told me I was 10 centimeters. She was staying at my house, and I was like, you need to get here now because baby's coming right now." My sister, like, walked in the door at, I think, like, 4:30, and at, like, 4:35, the doctor and everybody came in, and it was, like, time to go. Maybe they came in around 5 because she was born at 6:30 and I pushed for 45 minutes. So we did, like, they, like, prepped me and got me ready. In typical my pregnancy fashion, I was throwing up during this whole thing too because, of course, that was happening this whole pregnancy. But once it was finally time to push, I did for only 45 minutes, which is great. And I was very lucky because I actually had a really smooth birth. She was, like, in the perfect position, and it just happened, and I met her, and it was amazing. Um, I the whole thing is a blur. They are not kidding about, like, pregnancy and birth hormones being real. Like, the pain I felt before my epidural was something I've never felt before, but now, like, looking back, I cannot remember that pain at all. I just remember how I felt, if that makes sense. I remember it hurting, but I can't remember what it felt like. And the whole thing, because from start to finish, was 7 or 8 hours, like, from the moment I walked into the hospital to the moment she was born at 6:23 AM on September 2nd. It was just such a blur. Like, I think that Bryant and I had, like, 30 to 45 minutes of downtime. It was, like, from 3:15 to 4 o'clock that we were able to, like, nap a little bit, but it was, like, go, 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 which I'm so thankful for because I have had friends who were induced and were in the hospital just for days, you know? So the whole thing went very, very, very smoothly. Again, baby girl was in the perfect position, which I'm so thankful for. Like, she just came out, no problems whatsoever. Um, it is worth mentioning, again, I did break my tooth during labor from clinching. It was a tooth that I had had a root canal on, so it was already damaged. This was not a fresh tooth, a fresh, nice new tooth, but I did do that. And I did break my tailbone. But my doctor thinks that because I'd been so uncomfortable for that month of my pregnancy, for that last month, that I had already, like, she had already been, like, pushing on my tailbone and, like, slowly fracturing it, that the labor itself just kind of, like, finished it off. So those are the things I'm recovering from. But as far as other than those two kind of, like, weird things that happened to me, my actual recovery has been fantastic. I was so afraid of postpartum recovery. I was so afraid of just all of it. And it has been really smooth and really great. I have been able to, like, get back to walking and, like, building back up to some, like, lower impact strength training, and that has all been amazing. So all in all, like, I joked with my friends because my pregnancy was so bad. I was like, I would give birth 10 times over if that meant I never had to be pregnant again. Like, I would rather just go through that labor experience 10 times than have my pregnancy again. So hopefully, if this is something, I have always been afraid of labor my entire life. I've been so scared because, I mean, there's so much fear around it, you know? It's known as, like, the most painful and craziest thing you'll ever go through. But my experience, like, if you have a labor that there are not any, like, problems with, it is a really beautiful, incredible thing, and it is nothing to be afraid of. It's intense, it's wild, it's scary, it's crazy, but, like, oh my god, the second they put her on my chest, I just was, like, insane euphoria, like, just there's nothing like it, and it's also worth mentioning that the second this baby came out, my HG was gone. I immediately was like, "Hey, what's for breakfast? I'm hungry." Literally, my nausea instantly gone. It was crazy. Oh my god. I'm so thankful for it. I, like, forgot what being healthy felt like. I forgot what it felt like to just, like, eat food and not feel like you were gonna vomit after it every time. Amazing. So, that's kind of my quick and easy labor story. I'm very, very, very thankful that everything went smoothly, that she was healthy, like, as far as labor and delivery goes, this honestly was, like, the best way it could have gone. Like, I loved it. It kind of got to be on my own timeline. Like, they called me, I was able to grab my bags, walk in carefully, get situated, call my sister who lives in Wilmington, and she was able to drive to Charlotte to be ready and be there. So, it just after the pregnancy I had, I felt very thankful and very gracious to have such a nice, smooth labor. So, that is my labor story. I hope this was interesting to you. Once again, I'm not sharing this to, like, brag or to create fear. I'm just sharing it as information because I think there's so much, like, so many horror I mean, sorry, I have this, like, retainer in and it's hard to speak, but there are so many horror stories associated with birth, and so I figured I would jump in to share a not so horror story and a very just realistic. It was scary, it was hard, it was crazy, but I did it, and it was great. So that is all for me today. I keep looking down because I'm looking at the baby monitor, making sure B's not waking up, but I just figured I would film this quick video during her little 20-minute cat nap, and I'm gonna try my best to get it up in the next, like, day or two. So hopefully you are seeing this in a very quick turnaround, but thank you so much again for just all the patience and for tuning in on this new chapter of our life. It is so crazy how much my content is just, like, pivoting and changing, but I really appreciate you guys all sticking around and being willing to hang out with me, be in Cinnabun. So I hope you enjoyed this little sit down chit chat video, and I will see you in our next one. Bye, buns.